readers, welcome to Novels with Nat. I recently just finished one of my most anticipated reads for 2025, so I wanted to come on here and do a quick little book review, and that book is The Compound. Alright, so this book is The Compound by Aisling Rawle, I believe her name is pronounced. This is like a large print edition that I checked out from my library. So I would say this book was probably my second most anticipated release for this year. The first would probably have been We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough, which I read pretty soon after it came out, and I really loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And then this would be second in line for most anticipated release. For me, like this is this author's debut book, so I've never obviously read anything else by this author. But the premise of this one and the synopsis, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, yes, like I have to read this book. It sounds so good. So I thought maybe I'll start by going over a quick synopsis of what this book was about, and then we'll get into my rating and what I liked and what I didn't like about the book. So this book is marketed as Love Island meets Lord of the Flies. So off the bat, that's already like, you've got me. Like I'm invested at just that tagline alone. So on the back it says, "Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Winner takes all." Here's a synopsis. Lily, a bored, beautiful 20-something, wakes up on a remote desert compound alongside 19 other contestants on a popular reality TV show. To win, she must outlast her housemates while competing in challenges for luxury rewards, such as champagne and lipstick, and communal necessities to outfit their new home, like food, appliances, and a front door. The cameras are catching all of her angles, good and bad, but Lily has no desire to leave. Why would she, when the world outside is falling apart? As the competition intensifies, intimacy between the players deepens, and it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between desire and desperation. When the producers raise the stakes, forcing contestants into upsetting, even dangerous situations, the line between playing the game and surviving it begins to blur. If Lily makes it to the end, she'll receive prizes beyond her wildest dreams, but what will she have to do to win? The Compound is an explosive debut from a major new voice in fiction and will linger in your mind long after the game ends. So I don't know about you, but to me, the synopsis of this sounded so good. Like, who doesn't love a little bit of reality TV? And when you mix that trope with a book, like for me, it's like the perfect combination. So when I first looked up this book, I'm looking on the Goodreads, like the genre tags on Goodreads, and it's listed as fiction, thriller, dystopia, mystery thriller, and science fiction. So it's got like a little bit of everything. It's got the dystopia and sci-fi aspect. It's got the mystery thriller aspect, but it's also very much like a literary fiction type of story. I should also mention that this review will be completely spoiler free. It's a new book. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who still wants to read it. So I've done a few book reviews on this channel so far. I'll link the playlist down below. I think what I've done in the past was I talked about what I liked and what I didn't like, and then I gave my rating. But I feel like for this one, I want to do it the other way. I'm going to give my rating and then I'll talk about what I liked and didn't. Because I think from my review, it'll be probably pretty obvious what my rating would be. Unfortunately, this book was really disappointing to me. I ended up giving it 2 stars. And if I'm being perfectly honest, that for me would probably be a generous 2 stars. Probably more like a 1.5, but I felt like that was a bit mean. And to be perfectly clear, like I do not give out ratings that low very often. It has to really be something that I did not enjoy, something that I really should have DNF'd, but I just pushed through and finished it. But yeah, I just did not like this book. So now let's get into why. Actually, before we get into what I didn't like, let's just first talk about what I did like. That part will be a little bit faster. Sorry to say, but so I would say that the actual writing in this book wasn't bad. Like it was good. I enjoyed it. Their writing style was fine. Their actual like descriptions and their prose was good. Like no issues with that for me. I'll also say that I enjoyed this book is pretty heavy on like the social commentary. A lot of the themes of this book revolve around consumerism, and it has a lot to say about that part of society, which I liked. It was interesting. I always like a book with a bit of a message, so that was nice. And the last thing that I liked, and probably a bit of a superficial thing, but I really like the cover of this book. I think it's really cool. I'm sure the author didn't have much to to do with that, but I do like the cover. So now let's get into what I didn't like. My list for this is a little bit longer. So I will say that we went over those genre tags that it's listed under Goodreads, and I will say that I don't think they're very accurate at all. The mystery thriller aspect for me was completely missing. I didn't find anything to be like there really was no mystery at all. I guess you could say it's got some level of thrilling aspects. It's more so a survival story. It's not necessarily a thriller. Like I think when you think about a thriller, there's often like people would expect some sort of a plot twist or to be misguided, or there when you're talking about a mystery that there's clues or something that you're trying to solve, and those elements just were not there in this book at all. So I think I went into it with wrong expectations. Um, I think if I had known going into it that it really was just a survival contemporary fiction type of story, I probably wouldn't have picked it up or been as excited about it. So there was that. I'll also say that the actual challenges on the show just felt really silly to me. And I feel like the way that the synopsis describes them, that it was supposed to come across as like really high stakes, really something that really like you're invested in the characters and what's going on in the challenges. And it just wasn't like that. Like the challenges were just um, ridiculous, low stakes. I just didn't care. So that part really was disappointing because that's like such a large part of the reality TV show aspect. And as a result of that, the book really quickly started to get repetitive. Every challenge just felt pointless. And so one after the other, it just felt like the same thing over and over. And the repetition got really boring really quickly. And again, I also in this book didn't feel connected to the characters at all. I think part of that has to do with so on this show there were, I believe, somewhere around 20 contestants. I think 19. Um, and so at the beginning, there's definitely a lot of characters, and so it's hard to like get connected with anyone in particular. And then as the story goes on, of course, people start getting off the show as they dwindle down to find the winner. And at that point, I felt like it was just too late. Like I just had no interest in the characters and no connection to them. And that's something that I really look for in a book. Like I want to feel connected to the characters so that you have some level of investment in what's happening to them. And I just didn't have that. I also will say this book is listed as dystopian. So we do know that there is something going on in the outside world. And I don't want to say much because I don't want to get too deep into it, too like spoilery territory, but I just felt like the book left too much to the imagination. There was really no discussion of that at all. They just kind of tell you something's going on and then move on. The entire book is focused on this TV show and what's going on with that. And I felt like if you're labeling the genre as dystopian, there really should be some aspect of the book that involves that or that you're being informed about, and there just really wasn't. And so I really think this book is going to have issues with how it's being marketed in terms of is the audience getting what they're expecting? And I feel like this book was marketed completely wrong. Yeah, the dystopian aspect just wasn't there for me enough to actually label it as that. Same with the mystery and thriller. And then I would say about halfway through the book, I really wasn't loving it. And so I went on to BookTube and I watched a few videos, I think one or two, of other booktubers who had read it and posted reading vlogs or reviews. And they kind of had a similar opinion to how I was feeling at the midpoint of this book, that it wasn't what they were expecting and they just weren't loving it. But because I had read that the genre was mystery or thriller, I decided to push through because I thought, okay, maybe at the end there's like some big reveal or a big plot twist or something that would change my mind. And so I didn't DNF it. I pushed through to the end, and I now regret doing that because there was absolutely nothing at the end. It went nowhere. And I was just kind of like reading the last page, I just closed the book, and the immediate thought that I had was like, what was the point of all of that? The ending was just really disappointing, really lackluster. There was just nothing. Like the show ends and then it's over. So I was really disappointed with not only the journey, but then how it concludes. I just felt like there's really no storyline here, aside from it feeling like the entire purpose of the book was to have this reality TV show as maybe like a vessel to have some kind of social commentary about consumerism, which is fine, but I feel like there needs to be a strong story and arc and plot and all of that in order to really drive that message, and it was just not there. So overall, I would say this book definitely did read like a debut. I find oftentimes when you read a debut book, you can see that there's potential, but that the author perhaps needs to like practice, I guess might be a way to say it. It definitely doesn't read like a seasoned author's book. I just really didn't enjoy this one, and I'm so disappointed because it was one of my most anticipated reads for this year, and it really fell short. I gave it 2 stars, probably 1.5. I think this book is a case of really, really strong idea, but really poor execution. Um, I just think a lot of times I'll read a synopsis of a book and be like, this is like going to be 5 stars just based on the synopsis. And then it's always such a letdown, such a bummer when you read it and it just doesn't live up to those expectations. But it happens. That's what happens, I guess, when you're giving a new author a try, or you pick up any book, really. It could happen. I will say that because the writing in this was pretty good, like I didn't have any issues with the writing, I will give this author another shot. I'd be curious to read if they come out with another book to see how it goes. I think if the second book I don't enjoy, I probably would just decide that this author isn't for me, but I will give them one more chance. This is also a Good Morning America book club pick, so I think that's pretty good. Like for a debut author to be a GMA book club pick, like that's awesome. Good for her. It just wasn't for me. So I think that's all I have, all of my thoughts on this book. Let me know in the comments if you've read this book and what your thoughts were, what you rated it, or let me know if you plan on reading it or if it's on your TBR. I just wanted to do a quick video sharing some of my thoughts on this book. I'll probably do some more videos like this in the coming weeks. I have a lot of anticipated releases coming out very soon that I want to read pretty quickly after publication, and I'll probably come on and share some of my thoughts. I've got behind me a bunch of books out from my library that I'm really excited to get to. Not sure if you can see it from here. So some of those I might do book reviews. But for now, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye.